Aloha and welcome. I am so grateful for you to be here. My name is Taylor Norris, and I'm a certified quantum soul guidance, galactic astrology, soul reading practitioner. And today I'm celebrating my certification by diving into this mini reading, this mini galactic astrology soul reading for Tanya. So without further ado, we will jump right in to this little tiny taster of what information, the vast soul knowledge that comes through in a full reading. So we'll just be scratching the surface here. What is galactic astrology? It is an incredible modality that answers our deepest existential and metaphysical questions about who we truly are at the core of our being. What is the true nature of the soul, one spirit? And really, it's this way to become more soul conscious, to learn more about who you really are and start remembering or continue remembering, opening your intuition into more of who you really are and receiving validation, because chances are you've had tidbits of information come through, maybe lots of information come through. And it's so powerful to have that validated by another person, validated by the astrology, by the soul records. So we will be taking a little look. Let's go through the multi-dimensional rabbit hole here together across time and space and tune into this beautiful soul frequency of Tanya. My process as a galactic astrology soul reader is to look at the galactic astrology charts, which I'll show you shortly, as well as the natal chart, the natal astrological chart, also using my intuition, opening the soul records, receiving information in a more whole body listening kind of way, the right brain, the intuition, all the clairsenses, and the healing, the Reiki healing energy, helping me connect, also bringing out the highest possible expression of this reading for Tanya's highest good. We'll mostly be focusing on just the astrology charts today, but in the full session, I really go very deeply into the intuition and the healing. So this is Tanya's basic galactic astrology report, and you can receive one of these reports for free on galacticastrochart.com. You can receive this more basic report, and you can also receive an extended report, which I'm not going to work with today, that shows all the different aspects, the connections between the planets and the various constellations and the fixed stars in the constellations, as well as nebula, black holes, galaxies, other fun things, many things. So on the far left-hand side, that column represents the sun, the moon, the ascendant, north node, south node, midheaven, and all the various planets and important points that we find in the natal chart. It also shows the sign of those planets and points. And then on the right-hand side, we get the galactic astrology. We see the alignments. We see that Tanya is a multi-galactic soul with soul connections to Lepus, Orion, Auriga, the Galactic, Hyades, Piscis Austrinus. Again, we see Hyades, Lyra, Centaurus. So already noticing some repeating themes in Tanya's soul history, multiple connections to Lepus, Orion, and Auriga through her black moon Lilith, this point in the chart that represents the cosmic, dark, feminine, Very powerful energy, Lilith is. Energy of liberation, of not submitting, being in your inner authority, being in your divine feminine inner authority. And those alignments are repeated to her Saturn, which has to do with her karma. Her, again, this inner authority signature, Saturn, Lord of time, Lord of karma. It's where we really receive a lot of learning, a lot of lessons in this life by integrating the energy of Saturn. So we also see double alignments to Hyades through Neptune and through Venus. So Neptune having to do, that's so beautiful, with her higher love, divine love, that spiritual connection. And Venus being more about worldly love, mundane love, love in our relationships, our self-worth, our value, our creativity. So Neptune is like the higher octave of Venus, and both of them are aligned with Hyades. So very powerful. In further alignments to Lyra and Centaurus. So quite a diversity in the soul. Beautiful. Looking at the natal chart, we can see that Tanya is Cancer rising. Her ascendant is at 20 degrees, 19 minutes of the zodiac sign, Cancer. And you find the ascendant in the chart with the letters AC. And that is like the point of incarnation in your birth, in your human body, your physicality in this earthly life now. So it's very precise to the birth time. The degree of the ascendant actually changes every so many minutes. So it's quite important to know the birth time here. And so Cancer rising, she's got her moon here in the fourth house of home, family, roots, her inner world, and it's in the sign of Scorpio. So we're seeing here double water energy. Water, Cancer is a water sign. Scorpio is also a water sign. So this is a powerful moon in Scorpio. Very intuitive, very deep, psychic, gifted, desiring that intimacy, that merging, that really, really deep, profound connection with others, with the home, with the family relationships, really getting a lot of meaning there. And the moon in Scorpio is nearly a full moon. Look at that, to the sun up here in the 11th house in Taurus. So Scorpio and Taurus are opposite one another. And this beautiful sun in Taurus is grounded, practical, knows your value, knows your physicality, your embodiment. The sun in Taurus is very embodied. This is beautiful. And in the 11th house, there's a real sense of duty to your community, to your social networks, to the world even. This is like being a very important part of a grid of light with others. And that sun is conjunct Mercury. So we're seeing really the importance of communication, practical communication, possibly communications with siblings, with neighbors, and business even, with this placement being very important. Looking at the lines in the center are telling us more about the aspects. We've got this great sense of water with the ascendant and the moon, and then this sense of groundedness with the Taurus sun. And all these different geometries in here represented by these lines are also expressed in this table which is probably pretty complicated if you're not familiar with astrology. But we can look in this table and see your elemental balance. That again, you're quite balanced. You have planets and points in water, earth, air, and fire. Seeing a strength here in fire and also a strength in cardinal. So cardinal is that initiatory energy. It's that ability to step up and take charge and take action, do something different, be a leader, take a risk. And you've got strong cardinal energy in all of the elements. So you are most certainly a force to be reckoned with here, my dear Tanya. Strong cardinal energy, empowered light leadership. Love it. So looking back now at the galactic chart, we can see the timeline listed below. So the outer planets, Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, tell us about this soul's earliest incarnations, after which she split off from source. So in the beginning, all was one. We were all unified with the divine, however you want to think about that. And the soul fractaled off to have its individual or more individual experience. It can also be like a collective experience, but it's an experience of a degree of separation from that origin that is one with all that is. So we look to Pluto, our outermost dwarf planet, for the soul origin, Neptune and Uranus for more recent but still very distant past lives. So Pluto is aligned to the galactic. We will go over that more in a moment. Neptune, early soul connections to Hyades, which is interesting because that is repeated with Venus, like I mentioned earlier. So Uranus does not have any connections. However, we look to the social planets next for their soul connections, and this can indicate past lifetimes on Earth in various ancient civilizations, as well as galactic past lives linked to those constellations, those star systems. So her Saturn is aligned with Lepus, Orion, and Auriga. And as I mentioned, that's also linked into that black moon Lilith we see below. So very important energies there for Tanya. Mars and Venus and Mercury tell us about, those are the personal planets. They tell us about more recent lives, earthly and galactic. And so her Mars is connected to Piscis Austrinus, which I will talk about more in a moment because that's very special. And Venus is aligned with Hyades. Now, we can also look to the alignments of Sun, Moon, and Ascendant for the most recent soul connections. So those lives would have been in Centaurus, connected to Centaurus star system, so off planet, but also on planet connected to Centaurus. And then the Ascendant in Lyra, with the connection to Lyra, I'll talk about, because that's really, really powerful. That can tell us our future. So it can tell us about more recent or very recent past lives, but it can also give us clues about where it is we're going. All right, drum roll, please. Soul origin. The soul origin is the supergalactic center. Truly, it's from another galaxy. So Tanya's Pluto, the outermost dwarf planet in our solar system, which we look to for that soul origin, is aligned to the galactic. And I looked in her extended chart, and it's actually aligned to, it's conjunct the supergalactic center. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean like your soul originated as as that. It could also mean that your soul originated from far beyond this galaxy. So the super galactic center is a supermassive black hole. It's called Messier 87. And it is the source of a cluster of 30 or more galaxies, including the Milky Way. And this cluster is rotating around the supermassive black hole and being drawn in closer, closer, closer. And because the black holes are also the source of their local environment, it's where all 30 plus, including the Milky Way galaxy, originated from. So there's this dual energy of the creator and the destroyer, the source and the one to which we return again. So very beautiful energy. And it's likely that your soul used the super galactic center. This is what I tune in for you as a portal, and that you're actually coming from somewhere else. I believe your soul has a lot of experience from other places, at least as much experience in other galaxies as you do in this part of the galaxy, as well as on Earth. So I think you've had a lot of Earth lives, but you've had a lot of experience elsewhere that can be more difficult for you to consciously activate now. But hopefully now, being aware of that, more of that can consciously integrate for you. So when we see alignments to the supergalactic center, this is very important for the soul, these themes of ancestral healing, childhood healing. And where it is in your chart, it's actually in your third house. And it's very close to the IC. If you got that birth time correct, which I know you weren't quite sure about, ancestral healing and childhood healing would be very important because this placement is in the third house near the IC, and the IC is our roots, our ancestry. Third house has to do with early education, our childhood, our lower mind. So the opportunity in this lifetime is to do this healing work. Really be healing your lineage, be healing your roots, being the game changer in your lineage if you feel called to do that, by choosing more light, more love, more stability, harmony, being very empowered in your inner authority, but not to the extent that, you're, not respecting others, which I don't sense from you at all. To be respectful, to be peace-loving, harmonious, relationship-oriented, but not to the extent where you're not having boundaries. It's very important to have those clear boundaries in your relationships, in all of your relationships, both intimate and business, friendships, etc. So the master alchemist, this is also the energy of the supergalactic center, transmuting all that pain and trauma from your ancestry, from your childhood, actually transmuting that darkness into light, being the phoenix rising from the ashes, and embodying greater and greater levels of the cosmic light that you are, this light worker that you are, this light being, this ability to be connected to the source of all that is, to be connected to God, the angels, the divine, by whatever names you resonate. So this is very much the anchor of your soul in this part of creation. So you can see in that diagram in the upper right-hand corner, this is from my Galactic Astrology course, the Quantum Soul Guidance Certification course with Julia Balaz. And it's a very helpful diagram showing us the Earth there. It's a little tiny black planet dot there, with the sun being just so much larger. The galactic center, the center of the Milky Way, being very, very massive. And then the supergalactic center beyond that, just being extraordinarily massive, many, many, many solar masses. We're talking about very large black hole here, very powerful magnetic force. So another really very interesting thing that I wanted to point out, now this one is dependent if your birth time is correct, which you tuned in intuitively based on what you know. And so we're going with it. And really, I feel like you got the right birth time, because what this shows me was exactly how I felt when I met you, because I had the pleasure of meeting you in a Reiki class, and your ascendant in Cancer is exactly opposite Lyra Ring Nebula. So Messier 57. You've got a lot of this like amazing super cosmic energy in your chart, Tanya. It's really, really amazing soul. And you see this beautiful, beautiful picture of the Lyra Ring Nebula there. And at the very center is this tiny star, this white dwarf, at the very last stage in its evolution of being this wonderful, beautiful star and serving its time, serving its light. And then boom, having a supernova, blowing everything off. And we see these clouds of gas and dust around the star, that tiny white dot in the center that you perhaps can make out. And this is like nirvana, right? This is so beautiful. It's thought to be a stargate, a multidimensional portal to anywhere across creation. And it's 2,500 light years from Earth. And we have a lot of ancient history roots with the Lyra system. And this is a highly sought after feature of the Lyra system. Bringing it down to the personal, your ascendant in Cancer is exactly opposite Lyra Nebula. So what this means is that your descendant is exactly conjunct Lyra Ring Nebula. And so this means that people who meet you at like a little bit of a deeper level, see you as this high vibe angelic soul. And I can say that I 100% sensed that from you when I met you. Just super high vibe, super angelic, just like pure light, pure joy, really easy to be with you. And so the very great gift of having this is that you're attracting people. You have this ability to attract people into your life, relationships that carry this frequency, most likely increasing a lot as you wake up spiritually. Now, in the past, it might have been that, there were some problems with your relationships that, the kind of like light worker or empath narcissist kind of dynamic playing out. We can also see that with this kind of alignment. But as you've grown more and more conscious, really valuing yourself, empowering yourself, opening your intuition, opening your gifts, awakening spiritually, you can really start making more and more of those angelic connections that mirror back to you, the purity of your own soul. Lyra Ring Nebula is in Capricorn, and it's in your 7th house of relationships. So there's this opportunity to really be a light worker, to be a light leader in your divine leadership in all of your relationships. So we're seeing a repeated theme here with your Pluto alignment to the supergalactic center, very relationship focus, as well as the descendant conjunct Lyra Ring Nebula. There's a very, very strong importance for you to get in your power. Your soul is learning a lot about your relationships, having that balance between self and others, having that balance also between your home life, your career life, being very practical, being out in the world, organizing things step by step in a process that you can really manifest quite a lot, especially as you connect with more and more of these beautiful angelic souls that you have the opportunity to connect with. Okay, I also wanted to bring up another angelic connection because, again, it's really strong just to feel that from you and to see it in your chart. I thought it would be one that would be good for you to know about. My guides were saying, yes, tell Tanya about this. So your Mars in Pisces is exactly conjunct Royal Star Fomalhaut in the constellation Piscis Austrinus. And in your birth chart, I've marked it there with a little star so you can see that Mars in the 8th house, Mars in Pisces. Mars in Pisces is, Mars is our function of our human ego, our human drive, our human will. And Pisces is this sign about letting go, surrendering into divine love, spirituality, creativity. So Mars in Pisces for you is really this conviction to know more of that divine love, know more of your connection to all that is, to the creator, the divine by all the names. And Fomalhaut is one of these beautiful royal stars. I've included this diagram again from the course I'm a part of, starseedsteachable.com by Julia Balaz. And we see the star Fomalhaut linked to Archangel Gabriel, Watcher of the South, element fire, the white and silver ray. And on the right-hand side, I believe this is a picture from Diana Cooper of Archangel Michael. We see a Pegasus there too, a unicorn. I love that. I didn't even really notice that when I found it. Call in the pure light. You have this ability here, I'm seeing, to merge your egoic will with the will of the divine, shining light in dark places with this 8th house placement. 8th house is not an easy house. It's a house of mysteries, life and death. It can also be marriage or intimacy, this need to be merging other people's energy, other people's resources, other people's values. So Fomalhaut conjunct Mars is asking you to always remain very connected to that higher guidance. I think it's also giving you this ability to transmute quite a lot of shadow that might be there, especially from, that Pluto conjunct supergalactic center. You have this guidance, you have this support to do the work to really transform and to become more and more light, to become more of your soul consciousness, your spirit consciousness, informing literally like your physicality, your body, your human will. And that alignment has really harmonious aspects in your chart that we could go into in a full reading, but it's absolutely beautiful. And I was not surprised to see an alignment for you to the Archangel. You definitely have this Archangel angelic soul signature and really just so beautiful. I hope you enjoyed this mini reading, this little taste tester of what kind of information we can uncover in a galactic astrology soul reading. The full readings go a whole lot deeper. And if somebody watching really knows they want a full reading, I'm offering 40% off the first 10 to book the QSG, the Quantum Soul Guidance Galactic Astrology Readings. with discount code I am ready. Available on my website, taylornorrisreiki.com. I am so very grateful to be a certified practitioner. I'm so grateful, Tanya, that you let me do this mini reading for you. Hopefully it was helpful. Hopefully it resonated. Leave your comments below. And I appreciate everyone tuning in, all of your support, all of your love. Thank you. I am so inspired to rise really to my soul family, so my soul family can hear me and see me. And that's part of my intention with doing these mini readings, being of service and rising so that my soul family knows that I'm ready to receive them and embrace them, and I'm ready to be received and embraced as well. So much love to all of you. Aho, amen, namaste, and so it is. Mahalo.